everyone, welcome to the channel for a new video. So I came back from the French Inter Régions, and before even doing battle reports, which take a bit more time, I wanted to give you my opinion on Season Pack 2. So I played now a relative good amount of game with the new Season Pack. I've also been able to talk to a lot of people from my team, some other team, and get some opinion on that. And yeah, I just wanted to reflect a little bit what are my first impression, because I did quickly after the release a review, I think, on my French speaking channel. By the way, keep in mind that with the new AI live translating tool from YouTube directly integrated into YouTube, you might be able to now follow also some of my non-battle report related content. I often do review more in French than English because there are already other YouTubers covering it in English. So yeah, have a check on also my French speaking channel MathCD, because there you should be able to activate the automatic AI translation and be able to follow this kind of review if you're interested with the translation from YouTube. So that's also something to keep in mind now. But anyway, coming back to the Season Pack 2, I think I did a review in French as soon as it was released, if I remind correctly. And basically those were my first impression, and now I'm happy to make another one after playing Inter Régions and another couple of games with the new Season Pack on what I think is working well and what I think is a bit of an issue, cause some problem at the moment, and also maybe lead to some potential solution. That being said, I would like also to do a short disclaimer at the beginning. Obviously, these are my views, meaning it's not reflecting everybody's opinion. I would be really happy to discuss some of these opinions. Maybe you might have different views, you might share my views, so feel free to comment. I think this is also the purpose of this video, is not only me being vocal about issues that I find, it's also to open the discussion with you and maybe exchange some opinion, and you might share my views or you might have different opinion, and I would really happy to hear about your experience with the new Season Pack. All of that in the way, in the sense of giving feedback to the 9th Age team and give them the opportunity to improve it in the next version of the pack, because as you know, with the 9th Age we have an agile project that can learn from what happened in the test phase and improve the document that it is producing. So I think that's a great ability, a great feature of the project, and that might be a good possibility also for them to get some feedback and maybe improve Season Pack 2. So I made a table to kind of sum it up in topic wise, what I think are positive, what I think are issues, or where I see room for improvement. I shared that. I just made some categories. I want to talk first about primary objective, then secondary objective, then deployment, types, then maps, and then at the end quickly about special character and some final consideration. So basically you have everything on this slide. This will be my only slide to talk, but yeah, it might not be complete. That's just a couple of views that I have after the Inter Régions. So first about primary objective, I think I found quite good Divide and Conquer. I think it's an interesting new concept which brings something different, playing more in the flanks, encourage map control, requires from you to have multiple scoring, and mobile scoring are an advantage over more static scoring. So that might be something, I would say generally speaking, with the new Season Pack it has been harder for defensive armies, static armies. That's a consideration, not something I really wanted to put into the issues. I just wanted to point out that for static armies, and typically the type of list that I was playing at the French Inter Régions, which is close to my ETC list, infantry-based army, they struggle on those kind of scenario, the new scenario, Divide and Conquer and Scourge of Arad. Those two are complicated for more static armies who are not that fast, because with Divide and Conquer you need to be able to jump in the opponent half quite quickly in the game and also be able to play wide, which not every army can do well. But I think overall Divide and Conquer is quite interesting, brings something different to the table with the idea of not scoring in the middle. So yeah, I found it quite interesting. I like also the improvement on secure target. I think make the 2 points a bit closer makes it a bit more balanced and also a bit different to Divide and Conquer. It could have been redundant with Divide and Conquer if you keep them broader, further away from each other. So I think that's definitely an improvement. Breakthrough and all the center remained totally okay for me. The two where I'm not too happy with, the first one is Trophies of War, which is Spoil of War from last year, but a bit different because now even if you take a non-scoring, you also take a trophies on your scoring. I think doesn't change that much, but still it's still a nice improvement because you need also to think what you do with non-scoring. But I think here the main issue is I understand it that the 9th Age project, they want to keep it because if you recall at the beginning of the version 3.0, the only primary that we were playing for was Trophies of War or Spoil of War. That was the primary objective, the main primary objective. And quite quickly the community reacted in a way that they didn't like it that much, and I was part of that. And it's kind of an historic primary objective from the version 3.0, and I think that's one of the reasons maybe why the staff wants to keep it. But I think generally speaking, out of the 6 that we have, it's the less interesting. Because it's not so dynamic, it forces towards standoff. I think it makes for attacking armies very risky to make an attack, because you might lose the scenario at the same time, while for the other one with board control, you might take the primary on the way. I understand also the fact that bringing out of the 6, it's maybe the only one that allows you to play back and defend and still not lose the primary on the way. So I get that we might want something a bit different from this 6 primary in comparison to the other one where you need dynamism, you need moving forward, you need taking board control. That's the only one where you don't need board control actually. So I understand that, and before that we had Capture the Flag, if you recall, was similar to that. So it's the only one who might be also punishing the number of scoring, and I think we might need to keep that idea of punishing a bit too many scoring units. But in that sense, I'm still not too happy about it, and I think I still don't find it too interesting. So I don't know if maybe the fact that you need to go in combat makes it better for the standoff. If I recall correctly, I think with Capture the Flag, you could capture the flag also from range, which made from time to time also some idea of killing a flag from the distance and not engaging, but it brought a strategic aspect and was punishing for the scoring spam. And I think, to be honest, if I recall correctly about how it was, I would say that Capture the Flag was maybe more interesting than Trophies of War. So I don't know what you think about it, but I'm not too happy about it. I wasn't too happy about it in the previous season pack, and I don't think it's much better now. And yeah, I think it's not the best design that we can get for this type of ID to punish a little bit too high number of scoring and bring something different with no board control, which I get the idea, but I think the final design could be better. Skull of Arad Red Stop. I think, generally speaking, I like the idea and the creativity to play first half of the game, you play for the clue token, and after that, you play at turn 6, one of the 3 points. So I like this idea because even if you win on the clue token, you can still play for it and so on. But in the reality, between the deployment type, the Defender Vanguard, I had a lot of cases, and you will see in some battle report where I just won Skull of Arad Red Stop on the first D6. And if you recall just the game that I played on the live table where I made between the two special character Ogre Khan against Vampire Covenant, if you recall my analysis, the VC player winning the first roll, if he plays correctly with the movement, he could win it on the first roll by counter deploying, getting the Vanguard into a train piece, make you starting turn 1 into the train piece, and basically getting the win on the clue token and choosing the point in a part of the map where you have a huge advantage. So that's the reality of it that I've been playing it, I think 3 times until now, and the 3 times it was really the first D6 that decided who is going to be able to win it. And I think that's a huge issue. Part of the issue for me could be, and it's one of the final conclusions that I put down the slide, has the Defender too many advantages on the season pack 2? Is it the season of the Defender? You get to choose the secondary, you get the defender vanguard, you get those advantages, for example choosing the train and getting also vanguard into a train. I think here the defender vanguard is just the thing that makes it too good for the defender on Skull of the Harald Red Stop. Because with the defender vanguard you can kind of extend your deployment zone to start the game into a train piece where you shouldn't be able to without the vanguard. So I think here, removing the defender vanguard, generally speaking, for me would make sense in the sense of simplifying the game, which is always good, and it's one of the purpose of the version 3.0. Point 2, reducing a little bit the advantages of the defender, which might have been a bit too much. Number 3, making less automatic win on Skull of Harald Red Stop for the defender. And I think that's 3 good reasons for me to remove the defender vanguard right now. That's what I would do. But generally speaking, I would say 4 of them totally okay, 1 not so interesting, and the last one a bit unbalanced at the moment. That would be my conclusion on primary. Secondary objective, really happy that we have only 6. I think that's easier to track. We know them quite quickly. So happy about that. I think that's a huge improvement. That being said, we have balance issues in the secondary objective. The first main issue is keep the banner is an auto pick. It's an auto pick. In every game I played, the defender that has been able to choose it has been choosing it and has won it most of the time. I think keep 3 banners is much easier than the other one. So I think here, again, a huge advantage for the defender to be able to pick the first secondary if we have an unbalance between the secondary objective. In that case, I would conclude that the main issue is the balance between the secondary objectives. Some of them are too hard. For example, settle the score, kill the 2 units that you select is really hard. So assassinate is also not so easy. So we have complicated one. Take the 3 banner. It's much harder than keep 3 banner. So I think we have a lot of them that are really hard in comparison to the 3 banners that is too easy. So I think we could play on that. For example, if you lose 2 banner instead of 3, that's already lost. Or take 2 banner instead of take 3. Or settle the score, kill 1 of the 2. Stuff like that. So I think we could shaken a bit the balance of the secondary, and then in that case that wouldn't be too much of an advantage for the defender. But at the moment we have an unbalance and we have too much of an advantage for the defender because you get to choose this one and it's very often an auto win. Then we can also ask ourselves the consideration, why not just both roll a d6 instead of that 3d6 and the defender choose it and so on. Why not just roll a d6 and that's it, point. I get the idea and I know the stats that still getting first turn is leads statically speaking to more win. So first turn is still really key, and that's the idea behind it, to give more advantage to the defender. And that has been, I think, achieved in a good way, but I know that's still a good thing. That's still too strong to start sometimes. And that's why we have been trying with the new maps, with the defender vanguard, with the secondary, to basically give an advantage to the defender. I get that. So I don't know about the idea of just rolling a d6. I think here my main point around the secondary, we need to rebalance them. I think that would be my main choice here out of the 3 points. And I think the first one, rebalancing, redesigning some of the secondary, would probably solve the issue that I'm mentioning here all at once. So I think here that's more a design option that I would pick. Deployment wise, nothing negative to say about that. I think good to see Encircle back. Assault at First Light is quite interesting. So those 2 are definitely much better than the Cornerstone that was very restrictive, and also a Mutual Encroachment that wasn't bringing anything. So I'm really happy about the deployment that they did. The same for me for the maps. Some maps are really strange. They create opportunities, special situation, could create odd games, but I think that's fine overall. And we kind of like the idea of not having the full control of the map. I love the idea of 16 maps. Whether or not they are perfect, maybe not, but I think the fact that they are a bit unbalanced and create opportunities and advantage is for me totally fine in the idea of giving more of an advantage for the defender. In that sense, I'm fine with that. I'm totally fine with that. So I'm nothing negative to say about the maps. Special character, they add fun and fluff. I think that's welcome. That's very nice. That being said, I think the balance is an issue. Like I've said in my review, yeah, I think the 9 Sage here has taken some, has been cautious in a way of not making anything overpowered or underpriced and meta changer. Could change completely the meta and break the game. So I think they took a bit of a safety buffer by making them a bit overpriced, which is okay. I think here we could slightly reduce the point to find this sweet spot where the balance is nice. We see some of them coming out. I think it's interesting to see them. It's just to find the right balance, to not break completely the meta, but still bring some interesting new options. So I think here my expectation would be for most of them during the yearly update to be reduced in terms of price. Final consideration I've been talking about, has the defender too many advantage? I think here my main point would be, out of the defender advantages, I would remove the defender vanguard for the reason I mentioned before. And I think also the consideration linked to that defender having many advantages, I think it pushes even more the opponent, the attacker, to drop to start, because you are often thinking, okay, wow, he has so many advantages, I absolutely cannot afford him to also start, so I need to drop to start. So I think we are even more in a situation where it's either defender's advantage or starting, but there is no in between. There is no very interesting, and I think the drop game is very interesting. That game, I drop something, you drop something, we analyze when is the right point to drop everything to start or not to start. That game of dropping, the drop game, is very interesting in the game, and that's something that we see less and less. We see less and less, definitely, due to that duality of attacker getting the first turn advantage versus all that defender package, the defender advantage package. So I think we have a bit of an issue now, because we have too much on both sides, and it's either one, black or white. There is no in between, and I haven't had much game where we played that drop game. We had a lot of, I drop for first turn, I get the defender, I get all those advantage, okay, I drop for first turn. So it has been a lot like that. So yeah, I think we could find something to make it a bit more interesting by trying to maybe delete some of these advantages to make the choice more difficult. I think I've brought some ideas. You might have some other ideas. You might share my view, you might not share them. Feel free to comment. That, like I said, I think the main idea of this video is to open the discussion, to bring out some of my impression out of my bit less than 10 games in Season Pack 2 and some of the games that I saw. You might have a different opinion. I would be happy to read them in the comment section. Guys, thanks a lot for watching this video, and talk to you soon on the channel with the battle report of the French Inter Régions. Take care and goodbye.